Is riding a spin bike the same thing as riding your own bike on an indoor cycling trainer? Maybe it sounded like a leading question, and if it did, it's because it kind of is. They're not the same. They're similar, but they're not the same. And one does not directly translate to the other in a lot of circumstances for athletes. So let's start with, what is a spin bike? A spin bike is an indoor bike designed just for indoor exercise. It resembles a bicycle in the sense that it has a saddle and it has a cockpit and it has pedals, but it's not set up to ever be ridden outside. So some common contemporary examples would be Peloton, would be a really well-known example currently of a spin bike. Whereas an indoor cycling trainer utilizes your own bicycle. There's a lot of different types of these. There's some that keep your wheels on. There's some that have the rear wheel come off. There's some that have both wheels come off and you just ride the frame of your bicycle, but it's using your bicycle. And what's really notable about this is that when you're riding your bicycle, you're learning to maintain your bike fit. Spin bikes are excellent for exercise, for fitness, for cardiovascular conditioning. There's no doubt about it. They're not a bad thing. But if you are an athlete, a cyclist, a triathlete, who is training for a specific race and has goals at that race, so if you're training for anything, sprint triathlon all the way up to Ironman or ultra or any kind of cycling event, any distance, it's not usually the best option to train on a spin bike and not your own bike. And this is especially true if you have a long indoor season. So meaning if you have a long winter like we do here in Syracuse, New York, where most athletes here ride indoors for about 6 months a year because of outdoor conditions. If you have a long time like that, when you're working out inside, if you're not maintaining your bike fit, it's going to be really challenging for you to go outdoors in the spring. It's basically going to feel like you're riding a bike for the first time in a while, because it is, because you didn't ride your bike over the winter. So it's really important to maintain your bike fit and to train the fitness of your bike fit and to train the posture of your bike fit. The cockpit, your saddle height, your saddle fore and aft position, all of those things are unique to your bike and how it's set up. A spin bike varies from your bike in a few key ways. The cockpit and the actual grips and how you're interacting with the bike, totally different. You don't shift the bike, you don't brake the bike the same way that you do on a real bicycle. The saddle, completely different, may or may not be the one that's the right size and shape for your pelvis anatomy. And the stance width, meaning how far apart your feet are from each other if they're on a horizontal plane, like how far apart that distance is really different on a spin bike versus your bike. On your bike, there's two key metrics when we talk about how far apart your feet are. There's Q factor, which is how far apart the crank arms are from each other if we were to draw a straight line, horizontal line between them. And then there's stance width, which is how far apart your feet are. And how far apart your feet are can be changed based on pedal spindle length, if you know the type of pedal that you're using, your cleat positioning, all those things can change. So your bike optimally will have been set up for you and your unique physiology. And so it's really important to train that, because when we're training, we're not just training cardiovascular fitness or muscular fitness. We're training other things too. We're training our minds and we're training our postures. So in the context of cycling, we're training the posture that we need to maintain on the bike. And in endurance sports, you need to build up the tolerance to endure that posture. And you only get to do that if you ride your bike. Anybody who rides different bikes can attest to this. If you ride a road bike and then switch to riding a tri bike, it's totally different, right? If you ride a mountain bike where your grips are like this, knuckles out, versus like this, knuckles facing to the side, totally different. Was just one way that it's totally different. But even different bicycles are different from each other. So an indoor spin bike, while it's a great option for exercise, and honestly, if you're a beginner and that's the only way you have to train indoors, wonderful. Don't worry about spending all kinds of money on an indoor trainer, but just understand that it's not quite the same as using your own bike. And so we want you to switch to your bike as soon as possible. If you have goals to compete in a race or to complete a race, we want you to be riding your bike and training your bike fit so that you have the highest possible chance of success on race day and so that you don't have issues with your bike fit. Have you used a spin bike for training over the years? I'd love to hear about it. Again, I don't think they're the worst. I just don't know that they're the best for athletes who are training for specific events or goals. I think that using your own bike is what's optimal if you have specific goals related to riding a bicycle. Thanks for watching.